So yeah.
Wait, hold on. You do boy-girl content.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. And he cheated on you with
someone that I didn't know about. That's where
Okay.
the cheating comes in. More lying, I guess. I mean, it's cheating and lying.
But
so.
to be clear, so you, while in a relationship, monogamous relationship with you, he was having sex with other women.
It was like more like an emotional thing,
He was
which
not
I
having-
kind of found worse. Was he was like talking to someone? Oh,
One sec.
Killer of Cereal donated $200. My new favorite question for the panel.
I haven't written it
Most
down.
embarrassing moment on a date? Brian, apologies for last episode. That screeching banshee was under my skin. Didn't mean to be demanding.
Hey, Killer
Great show.
Cereal. All good, man. By the way, I don't know if you caught the end of the show. We had forgotten to ask this precise question. I have it written down in my notes here to actually ask it, and I have your name here. Sorry that we kind of missed it there. Just pretty hectic show, but you didn't have to do that. I was actually going to ask that, but thank you for the TTS, man. Appreciate it. Really good to see you in the stream. So you said it was emotional cheating.
yeah. He was like talking to someone for like over a month, and it was just like, I don't know. We were falling off at that point, anyways. So like, I kind of understood, but it still is like saddening.
Okay. So he didn't like have hookup?
No, as far as I know, at least. I mean, who knows?
Interesting. Okay. He didn't have any issues with the fact that you were like sleeping with men for work,
He
granted. but-
kind of had issues at first, but like, I don't know. Then it just like went away, I guess, and he just didn't care anymore. But
Question, did you meet him prior to starting work in the industry?
no, so I've
Okay,
been in
so
the
he knew
industry for
going
about
in.
4 years.
He knew going
yeah.
in?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But then as the relationship developed, he started to have an issue with it.
Well, yeah, like as it developed in the beginning, he had an issue, and then it went away, and it was like fine, and
Yeah.
then we broke up, basically.
Would there be like a waiting period? Like if you have a scene, or like would he want to wait to like smash?
No,
week
I mean,
or
we
like
never
a
like
fortnight?
talked about that at least.
Like, but would you give him like a heads up? Like a like
I mean, he knew.
Hey,
I would be like,
buddy,
"Hey,
like,
I'm
I'm
going to
fucking
a shoot
somebody else
today."
What's
So
that?
I'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to a shoot today."
But what if it's like a shoot, but there's like no D? Like it's just
Did
like
you
a
guys
chick.
did you guys ever do the deed after you went to a shoot?
I mean, not that I can think of it. I didn't write it down. I don't know.
Andrew, she was not keeping track, you know. Okay, all right.
I'm curious what he took issue with. Like, is it insecurity? Is it?
Oh, no.
And I'm wondering if you have dealt with a similar
I mean,
thing with.
you know, not every man definitely wants to see the person they love getting pounded on TV. Other people
Yeah.
don't care. I feel like that's something that if you are seeking, like if you are in the industry and you want to go and get into a relationship with a civilian, that is something that, you know, should be discussed and learn your boundaries for each
Right.
other. Like maybe it's no kissing, maybe it's don't call them this or that, whatever the boundary may be. It's up
Sure.
to the two people to respect each other's boundaries. And if it's something you can't do, then, you know, that obviously that relationship just isn't for you.
I just ask. I could be generalizing, and I don't know, Brian, if you come across this on the show often, but I don't know. I feel like a guy who is, I'm generalizing here again, but a guy who's like secure enough in himself and in you and your choices and your power and what you want to do, why would you have an issue with that on the guy's end? You know what I mean? Like, I love what you said about, you know, communicating and being transparent and each other's boundaries. Who said what? What does that mean?
Wait, so you're saying if the guy is secure,
Yeah.
he won't have an issue with it?
Exactly. If it's made in the woman's choice and her power, and she's well knowing and full knowing, like, hey, this is what I do for a living, this is what I want to do, then like, it's like roll with or roll out. Like, they should respect
Well, so
that.
What does insecurity mean from your perspective?
Well, if a guy, you guys are saying if they're watching you, you know, get smashed, as you said, I assume that that would make them feel insecure, right? And
Or
Yeah,
maybe
but-
just
why does
uncomfortable
that have to make him
sometimes.
insecure?
Because
Yeah.
why else? Well, think
Couldn't
about
that just
it.
be gross?
Yeah,
Huh?
I don't think it necessarily means they're insecure. It could make people uncomfortable, you know.
But
like
but
also
let's
in
get
the
to
industry.
I guess what I'm getting
If I
at, and you guys are guys, let's get to the root of why, though. That's what I'm saying.
But
Is
Yeah, I
it stigmatized
guess.
because it's like, quote, gross? It's like,
Can I-
What do you mean? Hold
I
on.
can explain it
Remove
to
the
you.
air quotes on gross,
Yeah,
by the
I-
way. But go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, it's not a stigmatization.
Point proven.
It's not a stigmatization. From your purview, you believe evolution is true.
Of course.
Yeah, so if you believe evolution is true, before we had DNA testing, how would you determine whether or not a child was yours from a male's perspective? How would you be able to determine that?
Hang on. I'm talking about in a controlled
Yeah, so hang on.
work
Hang
environment.
on, don't
like these ladies
obfuscate,
are
don't
talking
obfuscate.
about.
Let's stay, hang on, let's stick
I'm
with this.
not.
Let's stick with this because I'm trying to
Okay, let's
answer your
go.
question.
Let's go evolution.
Okay.
Let's go.
How would a man determine paternity before there was DNA testing? How could he do that? How could he determine that's my child?
Why are we talking about childbirth?
Answer the question.
I feel like we're getting persecuted. Before DNA testing?
Yeah. Why do you? How do you think a man would be able to best determine whether a child was his or not?
Their partners, how the child
How many
looks.
Yeah.
people
So
they're
well,
sleeping
so if they were in a relationship where the woman was only sleeping with him, and that could be determined she was only sleeping with him, that would assure paternity, right?
Sure, but
Yeah.
if we're talking, okay, so if we're talking evolution, you know, knowing about evolution, that going way back, right, men biologically, even now to this day, why men are so visual, so physical, have that impulse to survive, spread their seed, basically bone everybody, right? Where
Okay.
women tend to be the nurturers, but wait, hang on a sec. Women tend to be the nurturers, right? There's a different role that now we're trying to navigate that, like those Neanderthal tendencies in a
Yeah.
you know, modern world.
But I'm not sure
But
that
by
negates the point,
logic,
though.
But by that logic, the women, it could go the other way, right?
No. So let us assume for a moment that you're correct, and that every
Google
that,
it.
that every man on
I've
planet
studied
Earth
this.
wants to hump as many women as they possibly can. Let's just assume it for the sake of argument that
Yes.
they do. Okay. That still would have nothing to do with wanting the women that they're sleeping with to sleep with other men. And the reason for this is because of the assurance of paternity. Women can take the DNA from multiple men, but there's no assuredness that that then is going to be your child. That's the problem. And so the reason it's ingrained in men to find it revolting when their significant other is sleeping with another person besides them at any point, at least this is most men, is because that's ingrained in us because of that paternal
But you're
issue.
missing my point. You said it's revolting for men, right? It's a societal standard because of this. It's like
No.
when a woman sleeps around, she's
That's
a slut.
soci-
When
that's
a guy,
sociological.
Hang on a
I'm
second,
saying it's
please.
biological.
Wait, hang on. When a man sleeps around, he's a stud. So by that logic, you say repulse, revolt. It should be
Yeah,
the other way
because
around,
the-
right? Women are
no,
like
it
revolted
wouldn't
of
be the
men
other way
sleeping
around.
around. It's like I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the other way around. You're talking about a
Right, you're proving my point.
No, I'm not. You're talking about
Okay.
a sociological versus a biological phenomenon. So the sociology,
but they
I'm
meet.
kind of trying to explain it to
Okay.
you. The sociology is meeting with the biology. True. But why? Well, it's meeting with the biology because men are revolted by promiscuous women. Women are not necessarily revolted by promiscuous men. That's
Right,
so.
it's
Hang on, hang
biology
on,
and culturally.
hang on,
We've been
hang on. Let me
indoctrinated with
finish. You can talk in
religion,
a
with-
second. I'm almost done.
Okay. Oh, thanks for
Okay,
your
so
permission.
after we get this foundational principle established that men are generally revolted by promiscuous women, but women are not generally revolted by promiscuous men biologically. Yes, the sociological phenomenons which spiral out of that, that's true, but it's the basis of it is the biological phenomenon.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing,
don't
sort
think
of,
we are.
not really.
Can I interject really quick?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up earlier, but I'll say in the least detailed way, I used to be a sex worker. And I was a sex worker that involved sleeping with men. And Liza we were in a relationship for a period during that time.
Is it like, you talking about prostitution?
Not exactly, and I don't want to get into the details on here, but
Okay.
and I did do so I can relate to some of these ladies. I wasn't on professional sets, but
Were you escorting?
in a way, I don't know if I want to say it on the air right now, but my point is
Whatever
that
fan
One moment,
donated $200. Seeing my girl getting pounded out by a bunch of dudes is a hard no for me, dog. Pause. Most dudes do not want to wife a girl who sleeps around even if it's for work purposes. Let Andrew cook.
right.
Go
And
ahead,
so
go ahead.
what I'm
Thank you,
talking
whatever
about now is I think a really unique perspective as a lesbian with a woman partner. And Liza can correct me if I'm wrong, but she loved me through the whole thing. She supported me, and there was an insecurity there because of the fact that Liza knows that we used to always joke about it the last 12 years. Like, she wins. Like, anyone I've ever dated, they always are insecure around her because they know, like, she's who I love, not them.
Grid One Motorsports donated $200. I missed the bump up. To continue the thought, when you look back on a life of shattered relationships, it was your degenerate behavior that led to you being alone and the neighborhood cat lady.
But
So Grid One, appreciate the TTS. Yeah, we actually didn't do. We're not doing 69 today. We have a lot to get through, so it's just 200 up. But Grid One, really good to see you in the chat. Really quick, just before I have you continue. So Andrew's talking about paternity uncertainty, but given the nature of your relationship, since you're both lesbians, there's no scenario where she could doubt the paternity if you two were to have. You'd have to adopt, or there would have to be some sort of, you'd have to have a donor. So it's not, you're welcome to chime in, but I don't think this is actually addressing Andrew's argument.
I think it's addressing the insecurity portion, though. It's just saying my partner didn't feel insecure about me doing those things. In fact, she felt supported because that money helped our dreams come true.
Wouldn't that be the opposite?
Well, can I just say one thing? That's because when I was thinking, like, what would men potentially feel